What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. Number 6, the Los Angeles Lakers. They've won 5 games in a row, although it's been against a very easy stretch of their schedule. The one game that I thought was impressive in the 5-game win streak was the win in San Antonio. That was a game that I had marked as a loss. San Antonio had been 5-2 at home going into that game, and they'd beaten some good Western Conference teams there, specifically Minnesota and Sacramento. And San Antonio jumped them early. They went up 11-0, but they just methodically got their way back into that game and got a good win on the road. Their offense just continues to be super impressive. They're 5th in offensive rating. They're 6th in half-court offense. They have just an incredible combination of skill, basketball IQ, and organization from the coaching staff on the offensive end. And it's just beautiful. I'm going to be doing I was watching the Pels game the other night. And first of all, shout out to Joe Myers and Antonio Daniels. I was like watching that game and there was a really interesting kind of like chess match going on in the second half as the Pels were dealing with all the screening action that Dalton was getting to get open, and the Lakers consistently attacking switching by trying to get smalls onto Anthony Davis, and he was just doing a ton of damage in the post and in offensive rebound situations. And then the Pelicans were like struggling to get the ball to Brandon Ingram in spots where he could really do any work. And they were kind of ignoring some of the Pelicans non-shooters in that sequence. It was like a really interesting kind of chess match. And like, I've watched a lot of broadcasts from a lot of groups around the league, and Joel Myers and Antonio Daniels, both of them were just completely on top of that chess match the entire game, calling out everything that was happening, talking about the different things they needed to do. I just really appreciated it, and I hope that we get more broadcast duos like them over time in the league, because it just made watching that game so much more enjoyable. And quite frankly, I think it would just be really good for the all the casual fans around the league to understand some of the tactical battle that takes place live. And it's really hard to do when it's happening live compared to when you can watch film and take your sweet time with it over hours, right? So shout out to those guys. Anyway, I was watching the Pels game, and the second half was just an offensive masterclass. The Lakers played with great pace. They got the ball up the floor quickly. They did like a good combination of like some freelance stuff in semi-transition where guards would just throw screens at Anthony Davis's man just to try to force quick switches like early in the shot clock, at which point they would just then try to post up or maybe get a shot up on the rim where Anthony Davis could get an offensive rebound. But they also did it through sets as well, just like they were running sets to try to get Dalton Connect open, and the Pelicans were attacking that by switching, which was getting more opportunities for Anthony Davis to attack mismatches, all of the guard screening that they were doing. And Antonio Daniels was doing a really nice job calling out how like the Pelicans kept botching guard screens. And like we talk about this all the time, but like the more action you run, the more opportunity there is for the defense to make mistakes. And the Pelicans were just making a lot of mistakes on like basic kind of screening actions that they were running. And a bunch of guys were getting open or getting switches that were favorable for the Lakers. And then Austin and D'Lo, both of them are so good at operating in 5 out inside the 3-point line as like screeners, slippers, and as connective passers. There was a play where like Austin Reeves kind of made himself available along the baseline, catches right behind the backboard, but he knows what's happening around him, and he knows that Dalton is open because Dalton's man is rotating to Austin. He, on the catch, just blindly turns and whips it to the left corner. Dalton catches and shoots a 3 there. Again, that's connective passing. Austin's the open guy, even though he's not really in a position to score, but Austin understands the next pass in the chain, and he's able to generate a wide open look for Dalton Connect, right? Or there was a play where Anthony Davis gets double teamed on the post, in the post on the left block. And the Pels do a really nice job pressuring AD. And so they're pressuring AD so hard that he's not able to really turn and see the floor. And so D'Lo makes himself available up on the left wing, and AD has no choice but to throw it back out to D'Lo. Now there's a split second after D'Lo catches it where you can make a kill pass. And if you don't make the kill pass in that split second, New Orleans is going to rotate back out and the advantage is gone. It's Dalton Connect cutting right down the lane, and D'Lo right on the catch one-times it to Dalton, and Dalton ends up getting a dunk in the lane. And it's like, that's just, those are the ways that Austin and D'Lo connect things with their passing without necessarily having to run a ball screen or drive a closeout or do something in a spot-up situation. They're doing it screening, slipping, cutting in the interior part of the floor. And they're taking advantage of double teams that other players are getting and making the connective passes to get to the player that can actually finish the play. They're kind of relentless with their execution. They have so many smart players who know how to play. When defenses make a mistake with a switch, everyone on the floor will immediately recognize it and start pointing to that guy. They're going to find a way to get the ball to that guy. They stay organized. They're freelancing less than ever. And they're killing teams in the clutch. They have the third best clutch offense in the league. LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Anthony Davis are 17 for 27 from the field in the clutch this year. A lot of three-man action. There was a game that they closed just running stack over and over again, where it's like LeBron coming off of the ball screen with AD as Austin is back screening the roll man as he goes. And there was sequences there where Anthony Davis was popping and hitting threes out of stack. Then against the Pelicans, they were like spamming like a horn set where like they would just throw the ball to LeBron James on the left elbow with Austin Reeves at the top of the key, AD's at the right elbow, and Austin would cut down. And then as Austin was going off of a pin-in flare with Dalton Connect on the weak side in the right corner, then LeBron would come off of a ball screen with AD. And because Austin and Dalton are running off-ball action, and if you fuck up that off-ball action, you have a good shooter over there, LeBron is able to turn the corner and get in the lane and make layups. And so they were able to spam that action and get a bunch of good stuff at it. They're relentless with their execution. They have so many different ways that they can attack. They have like everyone in their lineups is like a legitimately very good offensive player. You know, Austin has good two-man game chemistry with both LeBron and Anthony Davis. I'm loving Dalton Connect with the starters. I think I was talking with my friend Pete Zayas, who I think does the best team-specific podcast in the entire basketball world. If you're a Laker fan and you're not listening to Laker Film Room and the work that Pete and Darius do, you're missing out. Those guys are literally the best at what they do. So I highly recommend you guys check that out if you haven't. But I was talking with Pete about it yesterday because, like, I want Dalton to start. And this was Pete's original idea. He was on it early in the season, like a week or two into the season. He was like, I think Dalton could start for this team. It was kind of when D'Lo was struggling. And, you know, there were some concerns about whether or not he was ready for it. But my thing is, like, I think Dalton's athletic. And, like, how much am I going to be harping on athleticism today? I've already done it a little bit earlier. I'm going to be doing it again here in a minute with Houston. We're going to do it again with Golden State later. Like, athleticism is huge. And, like, LeBron and AD are the only 2+ athletes in the starting lineup when you have Rui, Austin, and D'Lo out there, right? And so, like, Dalton is a very good athlete. He literally had a poster dunk yesterday or was it 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. He had a poster dunk 2 days ago. He had like a play on a curl where he got downhill and got a dunk. Like, he's athletic. The way I see it is I want Austin, Dalton, Vando when he's healthy than LeBron and AD, because you can use Vando as the primary point of attack defender and as more of a screening fulcrum, and then Austin, LeBron, and Dalton become your ball handling fulcrums, and AD and Vando become your screening fulcrums. You've got tons of athleticism in that lineup because Dalton, good athlete. Vando, good athlete. LeBron, good athlete. AD, good athlete. Austin is now the least athletic player in the lineup. That is something that I think works from an athleticism standpoint. And I love Dalton with the starters because he's an off-ball scorer, which is key. Off-ball scoring is key. When I feel like a guy's going to give me 20, 25 a night, and I'm not actually like putting the ball in his hands, I'm actually putting the ball in Austin's hands or LeBron's hands while Dalton's running around. I like that because that's really complementary scoring. It's scoring that doesn't yank on the rope and actually cause another player to get out of rhythm, if that makes sense. And then also, it's so much high IQ in that lineup. If you had Austin, Vando, LeBron, and AD, that's a lot of really smart defenders. And so with that, you could craft a really achievable defensive role for Dalton that I think makes a lot of sense. And then for a team that struggled with bench scoring, now you have D'Lo and Rui as guys that can come in as bench scorers, and you can play them with your athletes. Christian Coloco has been a really interesting kind of defensive fit as a backup center. If you put him out there with Gabe, if you go Gabe, D'Lo, and then you go like Cam, Rui, Christian, you've got two really high-level offensive players around guys that are pretty solid defensive players, right? And then you can make a lot happen there. Maybe it ends up being Max instead of Gabe or something like that. Max, by the way, had a couple of really nice games over the weekend as he kind of got an opportunity with Cam Reddish being out, and he capitalized in a big way. I'm still deeply concerned about the Lakers' athleticism in the big picture. And that will always be something that prevents me from considering them one of the top tier contenders. But the offense is real, and it's going to keep getting better as they continue to build out that continuity and find ways to kind of piece together lineups that complement each other really well. And I still do think that if they hit on the right trade in terms of bringing in athleticism and if Vando can get healthy, they do have that upside. it's just kind of like a sliver of an upside because there's a lot of personnel upgrades that they need.